This is newly released interrogation video of a teenager who killed his mom and stepdad inside their suburban home. We just received hundreds of never-before-seen crime scene pictures of this chilling killing that this teenager, Nikita Casap, left behind. The former student of the month at his high school lived with his parents' bodies for roughly 2 weeks as he plotted his escape. We're on the case, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Hey guys, real quick, before we start this episode of On the Case, one of the most watched shows on YouTube, I want to talk about our partner and sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, America's largest personal injury law firm. They're a firm of more than 1,000 attorneys who have recovered $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients. And in the past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just $350,000. In Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it easy to fight for what you deserve. You can even start a claim from your phone. So if you're injured, you can start a claim at forthepeople.com/OTC. You can also click the link below or scan the QR code on your screen. Today, we are taking you inside a case that we have followed from the very beginning. It is the story of a teenager who appears to have lived a very comfortable life. He lived in a big house. He had parents who seemed to love him. He got to go on vacations all around the world. He got good grades in school. But in the end, he had an incredibly dark side to him. And he did something that only a monster could do.
Probably this one, yes. I'm going to see if I can get you out of handcuffs. It's just going to be a couple minutes before I can figure it out, okay? Okay, cool.
The Waukesha County Sheriff's Office in Wisconsin just released the interrogation video of when they first spoke with 17-year-old Nikita Casap on March 11th, 2025. Casap was arrested in rural Kansas and then was brought back to Wisconsin to face charges that he executed his mom and stepdad inside their home outside of Milwaukee. Now, the sheriff's office also gave us hundreds of pictures from the scene that Casap left behind inside his home where he lived with his parents' bodies for roughly 2 weeks before he took off and went on a road trip that spanned several states and hundreds of miles. Court documents say that his plan was to eventually escape the United States and make it to Ukraine, where he thought he would live as a free person. But you'll see that the legal system and law enforcement gave him a reality check that will likely last a lifetime. In the interrogation video, detectives, they begin not asking about what they found inside the home, but more making small talk, asking about Nikita's upbringing, trying to make him feel comfortable. They actually brought him some fast food, which he calmly eats.
Oh, I have your food.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't usually order Culver. I don't know if it came with ketchup or not, and I don't remember if you said you wanted it or not, so I got it anyways.
The detectives then walk in, and that's where they begin their questioning.
You're all finished?
Yes.
Was it exactly what you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Nikita, just wanted to introduce you. This is Ross, and this is Kendra.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, can I stay over here some water if you'd like? Nice to meet you.
So there's also detectives here at the Sheriff's Department.
The detectives start by asking about Nikita's upbringing, which is where we do learn a little bit of new information about the family dynamic inside the home.
Can you give me you were born in Moldova, right?
Yes.
When? I've got...
Yes.
Is it Nikita?
Yes.
Do you want me to call you Nikita or something else?
You can come with it.
Okay. Do you have a middle name?
I do not.
So you're born in Moldova in 2007. Mom is Tatiana.
Yes.
Is your biological dad in the picture at all?
Well, they divorced like in 2011 or something. 2010.
How long did you live in Moldova?
Until June of 2017.
So for 10 years.
Yeah.
You remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Tell me about it.
Well, just a regular childhood.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know.
Okay.
Nikita Casap lived with his mom, Tatiana, and her husband, Donald Mayer, in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Nikita says that his mom and stepdad met on a dating site in 2015 when he lived in his home country of Moldova in Eastern Europe.
You came to the U.S. in 2017?
Yes.
Can you kind of talk me through that, how that came about?
Well, I think like in 2015, my mom met my stepdad online, like dating site or whatever. Yeah. And then I went on some vacations with him, like all over Europe and stuff like that. Then eventually they married, and then June 2017 moved to America.
Don and Tatiana married in 2017, and that is when Nikita is brought to the United States. He was around 10 at the time. But he seemed to settle in, at least academically, well in his new country. He was a good student in school. He was actually won Student of the Month for the health department at his local public high school. He said that he had plans to go on to college and to one day become an engineer, and he was working on becoming a member of the National Honor Society. But for his normal and perhaps nice and calm as he seems in that interrogation video, let me walk you through the evidence that showed what he did inside the home. Now, this is video of the home that Casap lived in with his parents in Waukesha. It's a nice house, frankly, a big house on a cul-de-sac. Now, these are pictures of what the home looked like on the inside, taken by investigators on the day they made that horrifying discovery.
Respond to South 38, West 27056 Cider Hills Drive, 27056 Cider Hills Drive. Caller's out of state requesting well-being check on her son, Donald S. Mayer, born in 73, his wife and their teenage son. Caller got a call today from the teenager's school and advised that they hadn't been to school in a long time. Caller hasn't had contact with anyone there in a couple weeks.
That's what. Everyone 12.
So let's go to February 28th, 2025. Police found Nikita's mom and stepdad shot dead inside the home. They found Don shot in the head in a computer room on the first floor. Tatiana was in a hallway. She too was dead. Both of their bodies were covered in blankets. Now, this is a picture of the area where it appears law enforcement discovered the body of Nikita's stepdad. Court documents show that in the days leading up to this terrible discovery, Don's family became concerned because they said that they had received some bizarre text messages from him. Don's mom said that Don, or at least his phone, had texted another family member in Massachusetts saying that he felt sick and he was going to take time off of social media. So Don's mom called local police in Wisconsin, she lives in Massachusetts, to just go check on the house and make sure everything was okay. When police entered the home, they discovered Don and Tatiana's bodies. There was no sign of Nikita Casap. Now, that same day that Don's mom in Massachusetts called police asking for a welfare check, a school resource officer at Nikita's high school also requested police go check on the house because Nikita hadn't been in school for 2 weeks. And to that point, he had perfect attendance on the year.
Affirmative, and has perfect attendance, so it's really out of the ordinary. They've been out of school for a little over 2 weeks, and no one's called him out.
And his teachers appeared to enjoy having him in their classes as well. One teacher wrote, quote, "Nick has a great work ethic and does not hesitate to find clarity when needed. He is a strong advocate for his success and works diligently to maintain a high level of rigor. He is very polite and works well both in a small and large group setting." Deputies also spoke with Don's boss, which said 3 days prior on February 25th, Don had texted that he was sick and couldn't talk on the phone. Then deputies spoke with a postman who told them that there was a vacation hold on mail at the family home. And then another major clue dropped, and this one was from a neighbor who had said 5 days earlier he saw Nikita Casap drive by in Don's VW Atlas. Nikita didn't have a driver's license, which the neighbor thought was odd. Now, deputies then pinged Don and Tatiana's phones, and it showed that they weren't in the home. They weren't even in Wisconsin. They weren't even in a neighboring state. Those phones showed up 15 hours away in Wyoming. And law enforcement said that was no technical glitch. The phones were actually found there. Deputies then pinged Nikita's phone, and it showed that he was also states away. They noticed that his vehicle was in Iowa. It had stopped at 755 West Iowa 80 Road in Walcott, Iowa. It's a massive truck stop there. So police continued to follow the phone. They reached out to local officers in Kansas, and that is when they were able to track Nikita Casap and that VW Atlas to a gas station in Waukene, Kansas. And this is a picture of Don's VW Atlas parked at a pump after detectives took Nikita into custody. They say he had a lot of evidence in his car that would be incredibly important to prosecuting Nikita Casap. And they also say he brought with them the family dog. Now, inside of the car, police say they saw a Smith & Wesson handgun in plain sight. This is a picture of the ammunition that law enforcement also found in the vehicle. Now, back at the Waukesha house, a gun case for that specific type of firearm, which was owned by Nikita's stepdad, was empty. Also in the vehicle, they found Nikita's iPhone, and that would be very important when it comes to tying him to his parents' murders and potentially answering the question as to why he would do something like this. Now, inside the car, police say they also found $14,000 in cash, several electronics, dozens of pieces of jewelry that belonged to Tatiana Casap, and there was a camera in the car with a drive. And according to a criminal complaint, the memory card showed footage, and this footage, I will warn you, it is chilling to even think about. And it is more incredibly damning evidence against Nikita Casap. The videos show Nikita in the house in Waukesha, Wisconsin, after he killed his mom and stepdad. And the camera appears to have been positioned in the office where Nikita's stepdad's body was found. Now, this is a picture of that part of the home, and you can see the pillows and the blankets that covered Don's body. Pictures also show candles around the area where Don's body was located. The video shows Casap lighting those candles in the days before he fled on this multi-state road trip. He was using those candles to mask the smell as he lived with his parents' bodies for roughly 2 weeks inside that house. Now, the complaint goes on to say the video that law enforcement found on the drive shows Casap adjusting the camera. So Casap knew that camera was there, and he knew that camera was recording. Police also say that on one occasion, Casap took a phone and he held it close to his stepdad's body, and he says to someone who is apparently on FaceTime with him, quote, "So you can see him there. I can literally see the bleeping body there." And at that point, it was unclear who Nikita was talking to. Now, eventually police get into Nikita's iPhone, and the complaint says an analysis of that device shows that there was a message thread where Casap allegedly asks someone, quote, "How long will I need to hide before I will be moved to Ukraine? 1 to 2 months? And the individual replies in Russian. Now, Casap also allegedly says, quote, "Also, I probably should brush up on my Russian because I can understand just fine, but speaking is harder, LOL. Casap also asks, quote, "So while in Ukraine, I'll be able to live a normal life, even if when it's found out I did it?" Then there's this line in Russian. Nikita allegedly asks, "That includes the headphones as well. Quality one to protect hearing from gunshots of a .357 Magnum, just making sure." That is the exact kind of gun that was missing from Don's safety box in the home and found in the vehicle that Casap was driving when he was arrested in Kansas. Now, to this day, it is still unclear who specifically Nikita Casap was speaking to in these messages or on the phone when he was showing his dad's body on that video call. Law enforcement believe that Nikita killed his mom and stepdad around February 11th and then lived in the house with their bodies for roughly 2 weeks before he gathered items and took off on that multi-state road trip. He ditched his parents' phones in Wyoming and then drove all the way to Kansas where he was arrested. And those odd text messages that Don's mom in Massachusetts said that she received from her son's phone, those, they are believed to have been sent by Nikita Casap after the murders. So this was the brief hearing that Casap had in April before he was sent back to Wisconsin to eventually face the charges for killing his parents. And that brings us to this interrogation video when the Waukesha County Sheriff's Office in Wisconsin got the chance to speak with Casap for the first time since discovering his parents dead inside their home.
So you guys lived in Waukesha, you, your mom, and your stepdad. I know you guys got a dog, Toby.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In that same house in Cider Hills?
Yes.
Okay. Going to school, going to Waukesha West. How's High School?
It's good.
Yeah?
Good grades.
You do well?
Yeah.
What do you enjoy?
I suppose history the most.
Yeah? Okay. Anything you don't like about school?
I don't know, just waking up in the morning, I don't know.
Having to go?
Every high school kid does, right?
All right. You mentioned that you guys moved here in 2017. Do you have I said you don't have family in Moldova. Where do you have family?
My stepdad's family is in Massachusetts,
Okay.
and my grandma, on my mom's side, is in Italy.
Is that Lydia?
Yes.
Okay. The family in Massachusetts, like, do you consider your stepdad's mom to be grandma? Like, do you refer to her as grandma, or is it kind of?
I mean, I never even called my stepdad dad or father,
Okay.
so.
All right. So they're family, but maybe you're just not that close with them?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say? Okay. All right.
Did you visit with them a lot, the family in Massachusetts?
Yeah, every year, Thanksgiving.
It is truly stunning to think of what this teenager did to his parents and then to see him just so calm in this setting. It's almost as if he was seemingly unaware of the consequences that he would face for what he did. The detective even asks Nikita, as they're making small talk, what he thinks his future will be.
I mean, at school, at high school Spanish, but just basic stuff.
Okay.
So what do you speak fluently? Just English? Do you speak
In Russian.
Russian fluently?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, it's not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I know English, that's it.
Yeah, I took Spanish too, but I didn't retain any of it. Are there any clubs at school?
Yeah. The environmental club,
Okay.
the, Interact, it's called. It's basically, local community type of, volunteering.
Oh, okay.
Then, FBLA.
What's that?
It's it stands for Future Business Leaders of America.
Oh,
And there's
okay.
different things you can choose, different events or topics, and I choose cybersecurity one.
Okay. Is that like a resume builder type of thing, a good thing to have on a resume?
There's an exam you take, and there's regionals and state and nationals.
Oh.
To the regionals, I got second place.
Oh.
So.
Is it a team thing or is it just you individually?
Well, the cybersecurity one is individual, others, some teams, some.
Okay. Well, that's cool. When did you do that?
I was it was this year, February or.
Okay. Well, cool. Congratulations. That's pretty good accomplishment.
And I was in the process also of joining National Honor Society as well.
Okay. Grades are really good then,
Yeah.
obviously? Okay.
Where do you rank?
Grade, it's okay.
Where do you rank in the class, do you know?
Third.
That's pretty good. All right. What's the plans after high school?
I was thinking Madison.
Yeah? For what?
I was thinking something STEM related, maybe engineering. I wasn't entirely sure.
What is if you're thinking of a dream job, what is it? Don't know yet?
Hard question.
Yeah. Most kids don't know when they go through college.
Engineering. That's a lot of math. Are you a math lover?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a lot of math. Math seems hard to get into, but you've got the grades.
In this part of the interrogation video, even though it really has nothing to do with the criminal case and what will be used to prosecute Nikita Casap, it just really stands out to me watching how calm Nikita Casap is answering these questions and how he even gives an answer about where he seems to think his life will head after this conversation with law enforcement, thinking that he would one day go off to the University of Wisconsin. His dream job would be an engineer. And he's just so calm as he's answering these questions. It seems as if he believes that he has a future beyond prison based on what he did inside the house. So this small talk about where he came from, his upbringing, his family dynamic, his future plans for college, that goes on for about 10 minutes. But then eventually detectives decide it is time to get down to business.
I kind of want to talk to you about why we're here today, Nikita, and why you're out in Kansas and what happened, okay? I really want to know why you left your house, what the plan is, okay? Before I ask any questions about that, I need you to understand your rights. Has this been read to you before, your rights?
The Miranda rights?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any questions before I read them to you?
No.
And again, we have a feeling like we know what happened and when it happened. We have no idea why this happened, okay? The only one who knows why is you, and why you were out in Kansas and why you left, okay? And I'm really hoping you talk to me about why this happened, more than what, all right? This is your story. No one knows it. I don't want to tell you why this happened. I don't want to put words in your mouth and say, I think this is why it happened, or she thinks this is why it happened, or we look through different phones or web pages or social media, what have you, and we just make a guess and we say, we think it's because of this, all right? You're the only one that can tell us why. And I promise you, I do want to know. More than anything else, I want to know why. All right? While we're talking here, you can answer any of the questions I ask. You can answer none of them. If you need to use the bathroom, use the bathroom. If you want to have a drink, have a drink. If you want some food, I'll get you food. Okay? If you just want a break and you want to sit here by yourself for a little while, don't get that. Okay? All right. Nikita, before I ask you any questions, I want you to understand what your rights are. Okay? You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that? Can I get you to verbally?
Yes,
No, you're fine. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. Do you understand that?
yes.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer before questioning and have him or her present during questioning. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before questioning if you wish. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand each of these rights as I have read them to you?
Yes.
Nikita, understanding the above stated rights, are you willing to answer questions at this time without the presence of an attorney? And like I said again, if you want to see what questions I ask and choose not to answer those, you can. If you want to answer all of my questions, it's up to you. This is your show.
So can I say no to that, or is that like a...
No, these are your rights. No one can make you talk to us. Okay? This is whatever you're comfortable with. I can't make you talk. You don't have to talk to me. All right? I'm telling you, the point of us talking, more than anything, I promise you, Nikita, is that I want to know why. So that I can tell your family in Massachusetts, so I can tell your grandma Lydia, because I've talked to Robert, I've talked to Judith, I've talked to Tanya. I didn't talk to Lydia, my partner did. No one understands why this happened. And they're looking to me to give them some of the answers, and I can't give it to them without talking to you. So you can tell me you don't want to talk.
Yeah, I think I'd rather first talk to an attorney.
Okay, that's your right. Do you have any questions for me?
I do not.
Okay. All right, just hang tight again. If you want one of those, by all means, you can have it. All right?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it.
There's water too for you.
Thank you.
Nikita then sits by himself silently for roughly 2 hours. He uses the bathroom at one point, but other than that, he just sits in that chair. Eventually, a deputy comes in and walks him to another area.
All right, Bob, so we're going to move to a different area.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put you in handcuffs. We're going to kind of do the old-fashioned way, just behind the back, so if you could just stand up, face the wall to your left of me. It's a short ride, so they'll come off pretty quick, so just because we don't have the other ones with us right now. Was too tight or anything?
No, that's fine.
You all right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to go back out to that car you came in. There's that short drive, okay? How does we... Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the end of the conversations that we have between Nikita Casap and the detectives. But the details of what drove this violence, those details were just starting to come out. Now, let's talk about a motive. According to investigators, Casap killed his parents to get the financial means to kill President Trump overthrow the U.S. government, and to commit several terrorist attacks. Now, the Waukesha County Sheriff's Office looked through Casap's phone, and they reportedly found some disturbing conversations in Russian with not just the ones we were talking about, the messages that were being sent on a thread when he was showing off his dad's body inside of the house. But they also say there were conversations in Russian on TikTok, as well as the platform Telegram. And that's one that bills itself as a place for free speech, but it can be controversial because of the alleged criminal activity that can be on it. The FBI was involved in this investigation, and they say that Casap had material on his phone related to something called the Order of the Nine Angles, which the agency says is a network of people with neo-Nazi, racially motivated extremist views. It's known as 09A, and it advocates for the use of violence and terrorism to overthrow governments and destroy modern civilization. Now, the warrant says between February 14th and 24th, the days after Casap allegedly killed his parents and was living with their bodies in the house, Casap had messages on Telegram in Russian that said, quote, "Reply to them all and say you got sick," as well as drag them to the basement. I want you to remember those text messages that Don's mom in Massachusetts said were just bizarre, and so bizarre that she ended up calling police in Wisconsin to go check on her son. And then you see, apparently, someone in Russian telling Nikita Casap to send those messages as he continues on with this plot. The FBI apparently had already made contact with the Casap family back in 2023 related to online activity by Nikita. Now, we still, to this day, do not know a lot about that meeting, but we do know that federal agents talked to Nikita's family in November that year. Agents say that Nikita Casap, who went by the username Awoken on TikTok, he had conversations with someone else about the racist ideology of the Order of the Nine Angles, or 09A. This was in December of 2024, roughly 2 months before his parents were murdered. Nikita tells another user that he talked to a girl about the ideology and she was, quote, pretty chill about it. And he said if his parents were to find out, quote, they would take away my phone if they did, especially since FBI visited, LOL. Authorities also found Casap talking on Telegram under a username Accelerationist. And on January 21st, which was less than a month before his parents were killed in 2025, Nikita was reportedly talking with someone about a terror attack, asking, quote, what country do you think will get the blame for this? With an unknown user replying, Russia will be blamed for it. This is the goal. Nikita then goes on to say, quote, when the time comes for me to send my manifesto to you so you can spread it online, should it be PDF? And also, you won't anyhow change or modify the manifesto? The FBI says they found a manifesto. It's 3 pages long, and it talks about killing the president of the United States to create a political revolution to, quote, save the white race from, quote, Jewish-controlled politicians, with the final page having images and words praising Adolf Hitler. Quote, as to why specifically Trump, I think it's obvious. By getting rid of the president and perhaps the vice president, that is guaranteed to bring in some chaos. And not only that, but it will further bring into the public the idea that assassinations and accelerating the collapse are possible things to do, end quote. These are lines from Nikita Casap's manifesto. Casap would later write, quote, as a side note, the other attacks that may occur, what they are, who they target, I have no idea, even if they are same ideology as I. Point being, this manifesto is specifically for the attacks that targets Trump, end quote. Now, as far as that money, the $14,000 in cash and the jewelry that were found in Don's car that Casap stole and then where he was arrested in Kansas, it appears that Casap wanted to use that money, which he was able to obtain by allegedly killing his parents, to buy a drone that he would reportedly use in a terror attack. In another Telegram conversation, Casap speaks with the user Angel of Death about a drone with a dropping mechanism. Casap allegedly asks about caring for a drone, and the user tells him that the amount would cost between $1,200 and $1,500. And they also allegedly talk about an improvised explosive device. Casap also asked for headphones that could protect his ears from the sound of a .357 Magnum, the gun that he used to kill his mom and stepdad. Now, it's important to note that Casap reportedly talked about paying in Bitcoin because in previous court appearances, state prosecutors said that he stopped at a Bitcoin vending machine on his multi-state drive after allegedly killing his parents. Initially, Nikita Casap pleaded not guilty to 2 first-degree intentional homicide counts as well as 2 counts of hiding a corpse. He also faced state charges, including theft of property over $10,000. But as we laid out the evidence that prosecutors had through their investigation, which also included the FBI, you can see how incredibly strong a case prosecutors would have had if this went to trial. On January 8th, Nikita Casap pleaded guilty to those 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, and the rest of the charges against him are being dismissed. Here is Casap answering the judge's questions. And I want you to take a look at his chair. And you think back to how calm he was in that interrogation video. Look at his chair shake as he is speaking.
All right. And is it your understanding, sir, that you and your attorney are going to be free to argue for whatever you believe to be an appropriate sentence or sentences in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it also correct, sir, that you and Mr. Raffel have discussed the parameters, that is, the extent of the sentences? That is, if you're found guilty of these 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, on each count it carries with it a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of extended supervision. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
But on the other side, there is an option where the court could allow for extended supervision eligibility, not a promise of it, but the opportunity or eligibility for extended supervision after 20 years you've served on each sentence. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So it's not a minimum, but it's the possibility exists for extended supervision after 20 years on each sentence. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you feel that Mr. Raffel's explained that to you adequately?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to talk to you now about some of the other aspects of this plea questionnaire and waiver of rights form. Mr. Raffel, you have a copy of it in front of your client?
I do.
All right. This tells me that you are 18 years of age and you've completed 11 years of school. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
These incidents interfered with your finishing high school, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any problem reading at all?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right. Were you able to read and understand the documents that have been generated in this case? In other words, police reports, statements from witnesses perhaps, or other documents that have been generated in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And also, were you able to read and understand these documents that you've submitted to me with the plea questionnaire and waiver of rights form?
Yes, Your Honor.
This also tells me you understand English. That's why I asked this question about your level of education, because it's really not just how far did you get in school, but whether you were able to comprehend and understand all the materials that have been generated in this case. Do you feel you've had time to do that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, this says you understand the charges to which you're pleading, and in fact, you and your attorneys, I should say, have included with the plea questionnaire what's called the jury instructions for these offenses for first-degree intentional homicide. It's numbered 1010, and it sets out the elements of the offense that the state would have to prove if this case went to trial. Did you review that with Mr. Raffel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what the state would have to prove if you went to trial in each of these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we're going to talk about those elements in a little bit, all right? This also tells me you are not receiving any treatment for a mental illness or disorder. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it also true that you've not had any alcohol, medication, or drugs in the last 24 hours?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Raffel, I'm going to ask you about as I always do, about the understanding of English and reading and so on. Mr. Casap is 18 years of age, was 17, I believe, when you commenced your representation. Do you feel that you've had a sufficient amount of time to review with your client the discovery materials in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there, I presume, were video recordings as well. Did you review those with him as well?
We did.
All right. Any doubt about his ability to comprehend or understand, or let me take a step back. Any difficulties whatsoever in communicating with your client?
No.
All right. So I'm going to talk to you now about your constitutional rights. This document that you have in front of you says, I understand that by entering this plea, I give up the following constitutional rights. Each right is listed here. There's a box next to each one. Each box has an X through it. Does that mean you've reviewed all those rights with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does that mean you understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And does that mean you're giving up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, tell me if this is true. It says, I give up my right to a trial. True?
Yes, Your Honor.
I give up my right to remain silent, and I understand that my silence could not be used against me at trial. True?
Yes, Your Honor.
I give up my right to testify and present evidence at trial. True?
Yes, Your Honor.
I give up my right to use subpoenas to require witnesses to come to court and testify for me at trial. You understand a subpoena is a court order that you and your attorney could get, and you could require witnesses to come to court on your behalf, even if they didn't want to. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it correct and true that you're giving up that right as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
It says, I give up my right to a jury trial where all 12 jurors would have to agree that I'm either guilty or not guilty. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
I give up my right to confront in court the people who testify against me and cross-examine them. Cross-examine means that you and your attorney could question witnesses to test the truthfulness and accuracy of what they have to say. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it correct that you're giving up that right as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then finally it says, I give up my right to make the state prove me guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you discuss the concept of what it means for a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your attorney talked to you about that?
Yes.
Any questions about these rights, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody in any way force you to give up these rights?
No, Your Honor.
All right, let's take a look at the charge against you, sir, or charges, I should say. Count number one in the information alleges that on or about February 11, 2025, at an address on Cider Hills Drive in the village of Waukesha, Waukesha County, Wisconsin, you did cause the death of victim A, who's identified as Donald Mayer, M-A-Y-E-R, with intent to kill that person, contrary to Wisconsin law listed in the information. What is your plea to count one, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right. Count number two says on the same date and location, February 11, 2025, at the address on Cider Hills Drive in the village of Waukesha, Waukesha County, Wisconsin, you did cause the death of victim B, who's identified as Nikita Casap, with intent to kill that person, contrary to Wisconsin law listed in the information, a Class A felony. What is your plea to that charge, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right. Did you commit these offenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
So as to count number one, as to Donald Meyer, did you intentionally take some action? My understanding is that you used a handgun, a pistol, or a revolver, and you shot him and caused his death. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you do that intentionally?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you knew that shooting him would cause his death?
Yes, Your Honor.
And as to count two, Nikita Casap, and the same questions for you. Did you take an action? Did you use a handgun to shoot her and kill her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was that your intent, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit you committed both of these offenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Basie, you offered the complaint originally filed as a factual basis?
I do.
All right. Any objection, Mr. Raffel?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand, Mr. Casap, on your pleas of guilty, I will find you guilty. If you're not a citizen of the United States, your pleas could result in deportation, the exclusion of admission to this country, or the denial of naturalization under federal law. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Furthermore, because these are felony offenses, you may not vote in any election until your civil rights are restored to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And because these are felonies, it's unlawful for you to possess a firearm. If you ever possess a firearm, you could be found guilty of a serious offense resulting in up to a 10-year term of imprisonment and a $25,000 fine, or both. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Furthermore, this is a violent felony. It's considered, of course, a violent felony. Therefore, it is unlawful for you to possess body armor as well. Clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, where these charges, the other charges, are going to be dismissed and read in, it means I'll consider that you committed those offenses. I'll hold you responsible for them, but you will not be found guilty or sentenced for them, although I could also order that you pay restitution as well. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You cannot be prosecuted for those in the future. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand if I find that your plea is knowingly, freely, and voluntarily made, I will find you guilty. Your pleas. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Have you had enough time to talk to your attorney about everything?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you entering your pleas and giving up your rights freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions for me or for your attorneys at this juncture?
No, Your Honor.
After Nikita pleaded guilty, the district attorney for Waukesha said this.
In consulting with the family, they were in agreement that this is a fair offer. I think it gives us a time period that we want for incarceration, so there's really no reason to put the family through a trial.
Are you able to say at this point what you plan to argue at sentencing?
I think that this is a maximum penalty case. I assume that that's what I will be arguing. I never thought anything other than that from the time I charged this case.
So do you think that there's a chance he's going to get out in 40 years, 50 years and be back in this community?
Certainly, I don't think he should be out in the community, and I would argue against that.
They also mentioned, and I'm not sure what his status is, would he be back out in this community if he got parole? Is he a U.S. citizen?
I couldn't comment on that. Just because I don't know.
Okay. Also, did you guys want to comment as well about
No, thank you.
Can you say whether you're a class citizen?
And also, how did you consult with Nikita Casap as well, or just his attorneys? I know there was a lot of talk today. Like, did he actually understand everything that was happening to him, since he isn't through high school and English is not his first language?
Right. I do believe, based upon the record that was made today, that he did understand everything. I communicated. I would never communicate directly with Mr. Casap. I communicated with his counsel, and I think it's a good resolution.
Does this mean the federal charges are also not going to happen that had been talked about in the past?
I really have no idea what's happening with the federal case. I don't believe that there are any charges out there, but I couldn't comment on that. That's not my
So you're going to push against extended supervision at all?
Yes.
You do not want him to out at all?
Correct.
Ever?
Correct.
Okay.
Why? Why don't you want to know?
I believe it's a danger in the community. The facts of this case, which will be further explained at the sentencing, I think he's a danger in our community.
You don't think he can be rehabilitated after?
I'm not willing to take a chance.
Leslie, have you ever had any communication with federal investigators?
Very early on, I believe that there may have been some initial conversations, but nothing with regard to what they were planning on doing or anything like that.
Do you have any role with that, Leslie, at all?
I would not.
You mentioned cases 3 through 9 would be dismissed. Wasn't there a 10th count for intimidating a witness?
No, it was 3 for the information. It was 3 through 9. I believe that was something that we're considering charging.
Okay.
Yes.
And you said the family wanted this. Which family members? Was it Donald Mayer's family, or
we reached out to both victims' families, and they were in agreement with this resolution.
Are you in any way surprised about Mr. Casap's decision to plead guilty?
I guess I'm a little surprised. I mean, there's really no downside for him to take it to trial, but again, I think the courts look at the fact that someone takes responsibility for what they did, and I think that's a factor that they consider at sentencing.
The big question heading into this hearing will be whether the judge will determine if he will have the chance to be granted parole after serving 20 years in prison. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law&Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and now you can find episodes of On the Case on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.